Another day, another Space Communicator. Welcome everyone back to day 3 of the International Astronautical Congress here in Milan. And as I've been doing over the last 2 days, I have a special guest with me here, Galactic Chloe,
Yeah, hi Remco.
a space communicator here at the IAC. Chloe, you are not dressed like most people here. Tell us a little bit about what it is that you do and what your role as a space communicator is here.
I know, I try to suit up in a different way, right? I'm a science communicator based in Switzerland, but I originally come from France. And my nickname is Galactic Chloe, so this is like Galactic Chloe's suit. But it's not really a character, it's actually me, it's just who I am. I'm actually way better, I feel better wearing my suit than just civil, normal wear. Yeah.
Excellent. So I talk to communicators about communication. So what is the way you bring the messages of space to your audiences? First of all, who are your audiences?
So my audience is really general public. Science communication, in the way I see it, is really a dialogue between society and the scientific sectors and space in particular. Because by training, I'm an aerospace engineer, but I left everything a year back to go full time into science communication because I really believe there is a lot of work to be done to bring back this trust between those two kind of people. Let's say.
What is missing? You say bring back the trust. That implies that the trust is gone.
Well, that's my point of view, but I feel like the COVID pandemic in Switzerland, especially, has really broke down a lot of the trust that was between the scientist and the public. As well, we also have this image of the scientist, which I mean, I am a scientist, I'm an engineer, but people usually don't believe me, right? Because we have this image of someone that may be a bit more male, a bit, so that's why I try to demystify this image, and I try to build upon explaining the scientific methodology as well, to try to explain also what happened during this time.
You look like an astronaut. You talk about science. What role plays space? You say you're a science communicator. To what extent do you use space as an example?
Well, I usually see a science communicator, even though space is really my expertise. So I talk, as Galactic Chloe, I talk a lot about space, but I like to bring it back down to Earth. So, how space is related to technologies that we have on Earth, but also as well how the space industry can do better based on society's challenges. I believe right now the space industry is kind of a bubble floating around, maybe that we need to pop, so we can have maybe a dialogue that is more established. So that's what
Well,
I try
let's
to
talk
do.
a little bit about that because yes, the space industry is a bubble. I often talk about the space bubble, and that's not necessarily a good thing. But how do
Yeah.
you think we can pop that bubble and make space more society friendly?
So of course, communication like what you're doing, what other science communicators are doing is super important. Just try to explain the public how things are done, what is the outcome, how they're using space technologies. So a work of popularizing, in a sense, the science, the technologies that we develop. But there is also more of a bottom-up approach, right? I mean, the bubble is also there because we're developing technologies also sometimes a lot for space applications, but not necessarily for society. So I think one aspect that I would like to push is to have more of a democratic approach. So kind of listening a bit more to the public, what they would like the space sector to be. And here at IAC, we work together, both science communicators. There are not a lot of people that are just interested in space and talking to the public. We need to open this world so we can also listen to the people talking.
Okay, now let's talk a little bit about how you approach communication. What channels do you use? What is your method?
So as I said, my target audience is general public. So usually for, let's say, French-speaking general public, to be more specific, I use social media, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok to communicate, but I also do a lot of outreach in schools and institutions like universities also based in Europe. Here, for instance, I work with the Swiss government to represent Switzerland and try to bring a different image to the cheese and chocolate like people use, although we do have some nice chocolate. But yeah, so it really depends on who the audience is more specifically, because general public, as you know, is really, really broad, right?
I was going to criticize you for that because
Yeah.
there is no general.
Yeah, there is no general public. But by that, I mean society as a whole is my goal.
Yeah.
But then, depending on who the target is, it's not the same methodologies. And I have to say that I don't know if you feel that in a space sector, or me, I've studied at PFL engineering, and when I say I'm an entrepreneur, people are, oh, okay. When are you going to do your IPO? How many millions of people you want to? And I'm a strong believer that especially in communication, there's so much cultural considerations that a lot of local communicators is better than just one that talks to the whole world.
So, before we close, how does that work in Switzerland? What is the Swiss angle to space communication?
Oh wow, that's a good one. There's not a lot of like space communicators, as to say, like they do it full time. There are a lot of like scientists that are really good at public outreach, and we have also amazing universities that do a lot of outreach to the public. Our angle is also really towards space sustainability because we're doing a lot of research on space debris, but also the impact on the atmosphere. So I feel like there's a strong angle towards that. We don't have a lot of we're not launching rockets from Switzerland, so we have to develop in other industries.
What role does Claude Nicollier play?
Oh, I know.
He's in the booth. He's
yeah,
right behind
he is
us
right.
there.
He's right here. Yeah, is he here? Oh,
For
yeah,
those
over
who-
here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right here.
For those who don't know, Claude Nicollier is the Swiss astronaut.
Yes. So now technically we have two, but he's the only one who flew to space. So yeah, depends on your definition,
Fair enough.
I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, 4 times. And he's just an amazing person. If you've met Claude, or if you're in the space world, he's so open. And when you talk to him, have you talked to him during the birth? You need to talk to
Earlier,
him.
but yes.
You need to talk to him because the guy flew to space. You repaired Hubble twice, but when you talk to him, he makes you feel like you're the special one. And I know Claude is like the person I want to be when I grow up. But not only because he's an astronaut, but because of all of the values that he
Well,
has.
and that's good that you say so, because that is communication at heart, is how do you engage emotionally with people.
Emotionally, I agree.
And that's what it's all about, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, no, thanks.
Last question. How can people find you?
So Galactic Chloe, as I said, is my nickname. So I have a website, galacticchloe.com, where you have all of my channels. Otherwise, Instagram or LinkedIn. And if you're a French speaker, I also do radio in Switzerland, so you can also find me under there.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much, Chloe, for your time.
Thanks, Remco, for inviting me and for all the work.
Yeah,
Just amazing videos, and we
My
need more.
pleasure, and I really like to feature the great variety of people we have in space communication. So
It is Diversity Day today, right? Yeah,
good point. It is Diversity Day. So thank you very much for your time.
really my pleasure.
Bye bye, everyone.